All right, guys, welcome back. Maven live, and we've got the fourth man with us today. He is I'm going to say the winner of one of the Guru Gauntlets. The first, I think that you got it on the first Guru Gauntlet, correct?
I'm known as structure, liquidity, and key levels. So that is how I trade primarily in structure, liquidity, and key levels. And I'm from Nigeria,
Uh,
primarily that.
Nice.
SLK.
Yes.
Okay, and interesting because I've actually not heard of somebody that's trading this.
It's also a Mercedes car, the SLK, Hunter.
Gotcha, right on. Is that your car, James?
No, it's not
It's your dream car, then I guess, eh?
mine.
Okay. And fourth man, SLK. So this is the first time I'm actually really hearing of this. Is this a strategy that you've made, or is it something you've adapted from somebody else?
I would say that because I had an SMC background, I came from an SMC background, and overall, I was able to, find my own, something that works perfectly fine for me in the market, right? So I just streamlined my approach to structure, liquidity, and key levels. So primarily for now, I don't even trade SMC anymore, but I had an SMC background, so it was very easy for it to help me, shape my own, perspective and approach to the market. All right, so we call it SLK, structure, liquidity, key levels.
Gotcha. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm super curious to hear more about what that is specifically. But one of the, the mantras that I live by is, you know, I think you have to base your strategy off of something you've learned elsewhere, right? Like the
Yeah.
ICT, the SMC sort of stuff. That's like your core intermediate stuff that people
Yeah.
kind of start getting into. But then you realize that, it's not working for you, or you need to adapt it somehow to make it your own and make it work really, really well. And I love to see that, you know, being one of the only traders that actually did successfully super well in our challenge, you were able to take something that is common and make it better. So we're going to dive into that in a moment, guys, and you guys are going to learn exactly, hopefully what the fourth man wants to teach you at least, or guide you in the right direction. But first of all, just like always, there is a 50K Maven account up for grabs for the best question for the fourth man, and that'll be given away at the end. James and I will be reading the questions in the chat. Let's start off with something super easy because I'm super curious. What is the fourth man? What's that name?
Where's the third man? Where's the third man?
We have a lot of them in the community. I mean, we have, I've been able to build a community of social trust. So we have a lot of them in the community naming themselves fifth man, third man, first man, and all of those things. All right, primarily. We have them all over. I mean, and they are exceptional traders, just that people don't really know about them that much, but they are exceptional traders. And they are also a part of the community that we are building as well.
So is it a ranking of who's the best, and you've just moved forward?
No, actually. I mean, the name Portman actually came from anybody who understands the Christian faith would understand, where the name Portman came from. So it's coined out from, they call it hermeneutics in Christian faith. It is called hermeneutics, something from it. Yeah.
Fantastic. I am newly diving into that route, so that's somewhat new to me, but that's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dive deeper into your experience on the Guru Gauntlet, then I suppose. Remind us, how well did that go? What was your mentality going to the Guru Gauntlet? Did you trade differently than you would have traded any other challenge or your personal account? Give us some insights.
I think the experience is the same overall. The experience is the same overall, but at the same time, the same way I actually approach any of my evaluation accounts with GFT, Funded Next, FTMO, that is the same way I'm still just going to approach it. As much as, I mean, at some point you don't have to let the pressure of, okay, there's a timeline for the trade data that is going to be released to get to you. All right. So, but at the same time, you still just have to just stick to the plan. The plan is the plan. All right. Whether it's a challenge that makes people know that you are the best, whether it is the same evaluation, you just have to still do what needs to be done. So, I mean, you don't change anything, regardless of the conditions. You don't change anything. primarily.
because I'm seeing some questions, James. You're probably seeing similar sort of questions. People asking things like, congrats on winning the Guru Gauntlet. I'm curious about the psychology, with something so stressful. Another person saying, hey, did you switch approaches mid-competition? If something wasn't working. Were there any points in that challenge where you're like, oh shoot, I'm not going to do this, or should I change something in order, or do you just trust the system?
I think I'll just say overall, like I trusted the system because when you look at the trade data, you see that most of the trades came from indices, especially Japanese 225. All right. And one of the things that I encourage my community to do is that I encourage each and every one of them that anybody who is trading an evaluation account, all right, focus on JP225, Japanese 225. And this is the reason, from studies and back testing and forward testing, Japanese 225 has a very clean price action, like very, very clean. When it is bullish, it is bullish. So it primarily does two things. It rebalances old imbalances and attacks liquidity, simple as that. So the moment Japanese 225 is bullish, it just keeps running to the upside. If it is bearish, it just gives you clean price action to the downside. So I think it had a very clean price action at that time. So it was very easy to just trade it all through, take more positions in and as well.
Yeah, that's the Nikkei, Hunter.
Yeah.
I actually haven't heard many traders. I do trade the Nikkei from time to time, Japanese 225, the Nikkei, call it whatever you want, but it actually does move really, really nicely. Yeah, we're in the same time zone, I do believe, because I'm in South Africa, fourth man.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So let's dive a little bit into that, because I've traded a little bit of the DAX. Actually on Sunday I decided, hey, Sunday market open for Asia, let's try the Nikkei, right? And I took a couple trades, and I didn't realize that, hey, the Nikkei doesn't have a micro. I usually trade the micro. So I opened up a trade, and instantly it was down $600. This is on a personal account, $600 instantly, and then it went into profit, right? And it was 2,000 up, and I'm like, close, right? And I was like, it just immediately $2,000, and that was a complete fluke. But maybe Nikkei is actually easier to trade. So anyone, again, the Japanese 225 is the CFD label for the Nikkei, and then the futures uses the word Nikkei. Now I want to know, James, maybe like your approach to like the difference, because James, you trade a variety of different indices as well. What's the difference between each of them, you think?
Well, obviously, when they move, right, the Japanese 225 will move mainly in the Asian session and London session, and the DAX will move in the London session. Like I had some nice shorts on the DAX this morning as well. It does provide very, very nice opportunities, obviously, depending on what's happening in markets and that. I remember last year the DAX went, like the first 6 months of last year, the DAX just went on a massive tear because because of the war and everything like that. The German stocks were just soaring because they supply a lot of the like ammunition and that for wars and everything like that. So it depends. Like on Nikkei might be moving because there's certain sectors in that market that moves. But the Nikkei actually was very, very interesting. I was actually reading something today. Interesting that you traded quite a lot, fourth man. But the Nikkei actually has the biggest, like 15 minutes. So from open to close bar has sometimes the biggest ranges, which obviously you can capture a lot of points in terms of that. But I must say, I don't trade it as often as I used to. I did used to trade it quite a bit last year, a little bit, but maybe I should actually have a look at it. It does move really, really nicely. And I'm assuming you swing trading it, fourth man. You swing trading it mainly,
yeah. And one of the things I try as much as possible to share with my my friends. I try as much as possible to share with my community. I let them know that because of the geopolitical war that is currently happening, all right, it has an impact on JP225. And if you study recent data from 2, 3, 4 months, 1 year ago, you will find out that gold and JP225 are positive. They have been positively correlated for over 6 months now. So what that means is that, for the longest, I'm not going to short JP225 if gold is buying. I'm not going to buy JP225 if gold is selling. So when gold is selling, I'm looking for shorts on JP225. When gold is buying, I'm looking for buys on JP225. So they never used to be positively correlated until this geopolitical wars actually started. So they now move. They are now positively correlated overall. So the geopolitics has like a direct impact on their positive correlation.
Why do you think that is? because in traditional American markets, generally they're inverse correlated, right? Meaning that when the stock market goes down, gold goes up, unless inflation hits, right? And then if inflation hitting, then they kind of go hand in hand together. If the rates are raising, if they're raising rates, then the NQ goes down with gold. So are you tracking, the Japanese, the Japanese version of the Fed there, the Japanese funding rates, or is it just something else?
Okay, it's something else, but I'll put it this way. Sometimes when there's instability in like when we have wars across nations and all of those things, one of the things that investors do is that they move their money to safe haven assets. All right, they move their money to safe haven assets. So it gives us an idea that people want to move their money from assets that might be very risky because of the geopolitics and all of those things that are moving to safe haven assets. So it is very safe to say the yen, right, in times like this is a safe haven asset. So when gold is buying, it is also buying. When gold is selling, it's also selling.
Yeah.
All right. So just that. Yeah, primarily.
Interesting. So you're
also, sorry, Hunter, as well. The Japanese Fed have also, or what their banking system have also introduced. You can see GJ as well. Like GJ and EJ had massive moves last week or the week before. They moved like 700 points in the space of like a couple of days because they raised interest rates, I think, for the first time in a while. So obviously the Nikkei is going to present some good opportunities as well. So maybe that also, again, like that, I was just speaking about different factors, maybe move into different indexes, and that's GJ, it was last week Thursday, I believe it was, moved like 700 points in a day for currency. That's massive, but that will impact the Nikkei as well. So
interesting. So fourth man, the Nikkei for you is overnight session. Being in Nigeria, that's going to be like midnight for you. So how are you setting up trades on the Nikkei? You're doing swing trading. Are you waiting till midnight, opening up a position, letting it run throughout the night, or how do you manage that effectively?
Yeah, sometimes over the night, sometimes even over the week, like over the weekend into a new week. Personally for me, I believe, and this is something that I put out to the community as well. I mean, when I find something very useful, I try as much as possible to share it with the community so they can also position themselves. And when you check through the timeline, you find out that many of them are actually positioning themselves. All right. So one of the informations I also shared with them was about how the market dynamics has actually changed. In Nigeria, the New York session used to be like maybe 8, volume kicks in by 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Nigerian time. All right. So, but market dynamics changed in a way that we now began to see volume picking into the market at midnight. That is Nigerian time. So the first 4-hour candle of the day, that is from 12 a.m. down to 4 a.m. All right, we just have massive volumes. So before New York session, throughout the Asia session, I mean, price would have done whatever it has to do all through, even into London and New York. So primarily that. So, market dynamics just changed. So we had to just adjust and become flexible to it. So overnight, within the first 4 hours of the day, 12 to 4.
Fair play. Okay. Getting a couple questions jumping in here. I think people, because you were able to successfully manage that Guru account, people are rather interested. How do you control your emotions sort of side? Losing streaks. I got a question here that says, how do you stop yourself from changing your whole strategy every time you go on losing streaks? What's your mantra behind the mental side of trading?
One thing I tell it's something that I live by, and I also tell my community as well. All right. I tell them that whatever system you have, it works even when it fails. All right. So there's no point literally changing it. All right. The moment you get into a losing streak, it is because you are doing something wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean that your system is wrong. So every time your system fails, it is because from the beginning, what people don't make provision for is that when they begin to learn a particular system, they don't make provision for, they don't make a room for the phase where the system, takes losses. So, but the moment they have that mental, preparation that even every system takes a loss, it becomes easy for them to know that at any time they begin to experience losing streaks, they don't the trouble is not with the system, the trouble is with them. There's something they are definitely doing wrong. And when they check, they will actually find it. So it's a simple philosophy I live by. It works even when it fails. So experiencing a losing streak doesn't mean you have to change your system. You just have to check what exactly are you doing wrong. It could be in the aspect of, your analysis. It could be in the aspect of your money management, trade management. You will find out that you're actually doing something wrong. All right. And that is just it. So it works even when it fails. It's as simple as that.
What I like that. What time frame are you trading mainly, fourth man?
It's a storyline. It's a storyline build up. All right. Building the storyline from monthly, weekly, daily, then
Sure.
entries can come in. Yeah, entries can come in between 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes as a last resort sometimes. Yeah.
Sure. I like it.
That's a really, really awesome keyword you used there as a storyline. So it's actually something that's triggering something in my brain. Is what I like to do in the market is, I'll use all the different time frames and then create like a picture of what I think is going to happen that day. Are you doing something similar? Where
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So explain for the viewers at home, how do you create the story and what are you looking for, right? Rather than just using one time frame. So the audience at home, and I think what we're getting at here is a lot of beginner traders, they'll just sit on one time frame. What's the best time frame, and then follow some sort of pattern on that time frame. But the reality is the market is much more complicated than that. You have time frames and time inside other time frames, patterns within other patterns, and you have to create sort of this vision of what you think is going to play out and the ebb and flow of the market. So I want to hear, fourth man, how do you step by step go through and create that story for the day?
All right. So the first thing is, there are two ways if I should teach it to even a child, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, I want to teach storyline to a child. It's very simple. So the first thing is, the market is actually telling you a story. So you have a responsibility of, understanding the story that is being told. It's as simple as that. So to have a proper storyline build up, all right, I tell people to focus more on the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. Simply the weekly and the daily. It means that at the beginning of every month, you want to see how the previous monthly candle closed. At the beginning of every week, you want to see how the previous weekly candle closed. At the beginning of every day, you want to see how the previous daily candle closed. If you do all of these from the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, and your storyline is not still clear, 4 hours becomes your vantage point. That is the point where you are able to see very clearly. You can see clearly. So what I tell people to do the most is focus more on, if your storyline is not clear from the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, the 4 hours becomes your vantage point. So what you do is you focus on the 4-hour breakout, either to the upside or to the downside, and subject it to a higher time frame like the daily to know where price is actually coming from. So with that, you have a storyline. So primarily that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's very similar. You're doing top-down analysis and trying to prioritize the things that come on the higher end. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we had a question about earlier a second ago that was about the psychology. And you mentioned that not always is a losing streak a problem with your strategy. How do you identify for yourself if there's a problem with your strategy that let's say your strategy is not the problem, right? But let's say you're slipping from your strategy, okay? Because I think that's perfectly valid. I think a lot of us strategies slip. And how do you know that your strategy is slipping, or it's you're on a losing streak, or you're causing the losing streak? Do you know what I mean? How do you know the difference?
I think for me personally, I think the data doesn't actually lie. So if I'm experiencing a losing streak, definitely there's something I've been doing, consistently wrong. All right. So let's say if it's with my approach, definitely there's a piece that I'm actually missing. So sometimes it could be that I'm not paying full attention to it. All right. Sometimes it could just be, and sometimes, I mean, it could be that I'm doing everything right and I'm still taking losses. It is also still valid. You can do everything right. You can, your checklist for taking a trade, can be met, everything completely, but you still take consecutive losses. All right. At the end of the day, it's just you understanding that sometimes the market dynamics can change. So what's worked for JP225 for 2 years, the next 6 months, it could just be, a lot of losses. But maybe when you move to another peer, sometimes, you begin to experience those wins again. So sometimes what I tell people to do when they experience losses trading the system is, I just want to know what peers are you trading it on. All right. If I see the peers, I just tell them, okay, focus on this, focus on this. I mean, try something new. All right. And they begin to now see, okay, it's working perfectly here. So the losing streak can come in when you are doing every trade right. I mean, you still experience the losses, but sometimes you could be trading the wrong pair. And that is just it.
Interesting.
I mean,
yeah, because you're saying basically ranging versus trending. You're only good at certain types of markets, I suppose, right? So you should switch the pair.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I advise that a lot.
Okay, cool. Couple more questions, James. At any point, if you see any good questions, just pipe up and we'll go in there. But I got a nice question.
You need to, Hunter. You need to his whole after story. Fourth man. You must go read the story about the fourth man. It's actually quite a cool story.
Interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that for some homework.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You need to go read it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I got an interesting question here. Actually, are there any superstitions that you follow, like, to keep your edge? You know what I mean? Are there any things that you do that you think, like, that are not your strategy? You know what I mean? That you do that helps you lock in, or helps you that every time you do it, you make money that day, or every time you don't do it, you don't make money?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's something superstitious, but I would say that having a clear mind with meditation. I mean, meditation helps a lot. All right, it helps a lot. It helps you keep your mind very clear, and once your mind is clear, you're able to make sound decisions. So meditation plays a very large role. I mean, it plays a very large role outside of technical analysis. So if that is it, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
Hunter, there's actually a good question here. Just before I forget it here, there's actually a good question, because obviously I know there's a lot of guys either in South Africa that watch here, because I always get messages from guys in South Africa and then guys all over Africa as well. Someone asked, is there any limitations trading from South Africa, or from Africa itself? Any limitations, maybe like time zone, we're trading the New York session, or anything like that in terms of your trading?
Okay, is this for me?
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Personally, there's no limitation. I don't think there are any limitations that I can actually spot, because, like I said, there was a time that we used to experience more market volume during the London and the New York session. But the market dynamics shifted a bit. Now we see more volumes even during Asia. So what other people would consider a problem, which is not even a problem, is that sometimes you have to stay awake all through the night, just to get a trade. And so, but I don't think it's a limitation. It's not a limitation at all. I mean, it's not a limitation. There are no limitations.
I actually love our trading from our time zone. Like London session is like at 9, 10 a.m. in the morning. I think you maybe an hour or two ahead of me, but like London sessions in the morning and then New York sessions in the afternoon. We get like to trade both sessions. So I think trading from Africa in general is actually a great time zone to be in personally.
Actually, right. Yeah.
I think as long as you're not in Asia time zone, it should be all right.
Yeah. You know where's the worst time zone is, like Australia and New Zealand, because the guys that want to trade American markets, it's like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, bro.
Yeah, you have to swing trade.
Yeah, you have to. Well, you're not going to wake up at 1 a.m. in the morning to trade New York session open, right?
There are some people, but speaking of Africa, Nigeria is one of the strongest young trading communities in Africa. Why do you, like, you being Nigerian, why do you think it's such a powerful market there?
I mean, for me personally, I think that a lot of Nigerians are giving themselves to trading, and they are really, really getting it right because um, I mean, trading gives to us, if you get it right, it gives to you the freedom of time, it gives to you the freedom of location, and it also gives you options. All right. So that is why we are trying as much as possible to put out a lot of trading content, education content. I host
Mhm.
live streams, for my people as well. I mean, just because my heart is given towards shared prosperity, I mean, um, talk about the guy who didn't come from a lot of money, but he knows that trading can, give
Mhm.
him that kind of life that he actually wants. All right. So, I mean, I call it shared prosperity. So, a lot of young Nigerians are rolling their sleeves, putting their heads down and just trying to get it right. I mean, because, I mean, only trading can give to you the life that you actually deserve, or that you desire to live, primarily that.
Yeah, the freedom and the the,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
the ability to work when you want. Got it. And cool. And as promised, guys, we're gonna ask Fourth Man about his strategy. I think that's about now, but make sure you keep watching till the end too, because one of the questions is going to get a 50K Maven account at the end of the stream. Fourth Man,
Yeah.
SLK. What is it
Mhm.
like? Let's go deeper into SLK. How do you so you tell a story? You do the swing trading. How do you actually look for a position to enter?
Okay. So primarily, when we say SLK, it means structure, liquidity, and key levels. So structure, liquidity, key levels, it's a simple, the thought process behind it is that we are looking for liquidity close to a key level and subjecting everything to structure. So which means that structure plays a a strong role in our approach. So even when you are able to spot your liquidity, you are able to spot your key level. At the end of the day, you must learn how to subject it to liquidity. You must learn how to subject it to structure primarily. All right. So I mean, um, yeah, that's just that. That is like a summary explanation of what it is.
Okay, so if I had to sort of guess, what you would do is you go on the higher time frames, you tell the story, you say, "Hey, these are the levels that I have of interest," right? And then you
Yes.
look for price to get near it, and then you you want to grab that liquidity sweep or the stop hunt or whatever
Mm.
people like to
Hmm.
trade here,
Hmm.
and then look for the reversal back
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you're
Yeah.
mostly just playing the bait and switch sort of tactic, eh?
Yeah.
Where you're looking at a level that's more important than what people on the lower time frame are looking at.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really genius in itself, right? Is there anything so and then when you do enter, do you just put your stop kind of behind the swing high and then target the opposite side or what?
Yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah.
it depends on, if I'm entering directly from a particular level, let's say on the 2 hours, 4 hours, on the 1 hour. I mean, sometimes just for to give it more room to breathe, the stop loss could be, just below the swing low or the swing
Mhm.
high. But if I'm entering with a confirmation, all right, I mean, if price sweeps a 4 hour low, all right, the logic behind my confirmation entry approach is that if price sweeps a 4 hour low and it rejects from a key level on the higher time frame, I must see that the 4 hour high is still standing. Now, the 4 hour high still standing means that that 4 hour high becomes an opposing liquidity. So that is for buying opportunities when I want to get in on a confirmation entry for buys. So for sales, if price sweeps a 4 hour high, I must also see that the 4 hour low is still standing. The 4 hour low still standing is going to serve as a draw on liquidity. That is going to serve as an opposing liquidity that price must take out. All right. So it depends. All right. So if I'm entering from that, I'm putting it at the 4 hour high or the 4 hour low. Depends on the place I'm actually getting it from.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. I
What
have a
risk reward ratio? What risk reward ratio do you mainly trade for, fourth man?
Primarily, I mean, 1 to 3 works so fine. I mean, because it's a good risk to reward. But at the same time, all right, like I said, when JP225 is on a run, all right, you could swing it for days. You could
Yeah.
for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, and all of those things. All right. So it just depends. If you know that this, I mean, nobody can tell for sure this is where price is actually going to run to.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if you get like a very good entry, I mean, it's something you can hold, you can give to you 1 to 6, 1 to 7, depends. It just primarily depends. I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so something interesting is you said you like to trade JAP 225, right?
Yeah.
But then you're saying it goes on rips, right? So are you letting trades just run for a while, or because you're kind of playing this range sort of thing in my mind, right? Where you're looking for the reversal. But it would make more sense to me that you would be really good in the NASDAQ instead of the Japanese. So I'm just kind of like, why do you like the Japanese then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I trade all the indices, right? Whether it is regardless of any of the indices, US 30, NASDAQ, whatever kind of index. I mean, I'm game on it, all right. But the reason why I'm emphasizing on the Japanese 2 to 5 is primarily because of how it has a very clean price action, all right. It has a very clean price action. That is why I have my emphasis laid on Japanese 2 to 5.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool. I've got a fun question for you. Between Hunter, the fourth man, and James Bruce, if we're all trading on the same account, who would break their rules first?
Me.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen James trade live, but I think I've joined your live stream sometime. I did join your live stream sometimes when you're trading live. You mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a challenge for one day. I don't think we're gonna have an answer to that though. None of us ever break our rules. That's the real challenge.
Yeah. We definitely have to do it one day though. We need to actually get some more live trading going, Hunter. That's for sure.
Sure. This is a nice question. SMC versus SLK. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the reasons as why you switched and what the main difference is what's the big, like, everyone knows SMC. What's the big thing that's different that makes it better?
I think what makes SLK better is because it is very simple to understand. Gotcha. I mean, very, very simple to understand. All right. SMC is big, all right? I have an SMC background, but at the same time, SLK is also big, all right? Because most of the guys in our community across the world, in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, the UK, I mean, many of them are getting payouts, passing their evaluation accounts and all of those things. So, but primarily, what makes it makes it different is that SLK is very simple. SLK is very simple. You know the level you want to see price come into. And this is the reason why I say it's very simple. I have trained my guys, everyone from my community, to always think, I train them to see trading like this, from expectation to execution. So what that means is that they need to see ABC before they do XYZ, which means they are never going to execute if the criteria for your storyline is not met. So if those storyline criteria are not being met, for your expectation, all right, you're never going to execute. So I train them to think like that. Your trading has to move from expectation to execution. What that means is that I want to be able to see ABC before I do XYZ. So I'm not just coming to the chart, marking one order block and just waiting for price to come there and buy. No. If I'm marking a particular level, there are certain criteria that I need to see that has to be met. When those criteria are met, then I'm going to execute. If they are never met, I'm not going to execute. So I'm still going to say it again. SMC is great. SLK is also great as well. But what makes it different is that SLK is very simple. I mean, I can pick a little boy as little as 11, 12, 13, and I can show him the ropes of SLK and he will do well in the market. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll do well in the market.
Yes.
Besides, he's not legally allowed to trade the market. But got it. Okay, cool.
You can trade a demo account, Hunter. You can trade a demo account.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what fourth man's talking about. Gotcha. Okay, James, do you got any more questions Anything else interesting here that we wanted to chat about with?
Geez, there's some funny questions coming through. You can see some of them are AR, but
yeah. As we're looking for more questions, guys, we're going to be running one last Guru Gauntlet. I'm doing one more. We did 2 already. I'm doing the last one. If you go to my Twitter, you could find a Guru Gauntlet. I'm just getting people. What you have to do is make a post. The most impressive posts or the most viral or the most crazy posts are going to get adopted into the Guru Gauntlet. And once again, if you succeed on the Guru Gauntlet, your name will be praised. And if you fail, you will be shamed in front of everyone. Now, luckily, fourth man actually successfully. And I really enjoy your strategy, SLK. It's a very similar logic to, how I think you basically, as you become an advanced trader, you adopt the mentality of like, let's just get dumber, right? And that's the whole concept of how I went down is let's just simplify it. Because the reality is, I want your perspective on this too, is did you go through a cycle where like when you got first into trading, it was pretty easy and then it got harder? And then now that you're good again, it's easier?
Yeah. I mean, everybody goes through that cycle. I went through it, you start and it feels like you are getting it right. People call it beginner's luck.
Yeah.
And, then it gets harder. And I feel like the reason why it gets harder is because we get to that point where we start to get it right in trading. Then we now feel like we need to know more about trading. We need to learn more. That is where the problem is. People trying to learn more, then it becomes even harder. All right. Then the moment it becomes harder and they begin to realize that, no, I just have to like simplify this thing. The moment they simplify it again, it gets easier again. And and all of those things. Yeah. So I went through that cycle personally. I was studying a lot of materials from ICT. I was studying a lot of materials, SMC, anything SMC, I kept consuming, Then I found out that, I was not really making progress because I knew so much, but I had little results. So what I did was that I had to simplify everything. So if you go to my YouTube channel, for example, you'll see my header. My header says, the simplest of instructions is what gives the best result. All right. So that's why I say, it's very simple, simplify it and everything just gets easy.
I love it.
Yeah. I've got some questions here. Fourth man, how long have you been trading, and what advice would you give like newer traders that are like maybe 2 to 3 years in?
I've been trading for 3 years, but I would say if there's one advice I'd give to anyone who just wants to get into trading, I'd say just one thing: keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's as simple as that. Keep it simple, and keep it simple primarily. Like I said, the simplest of instruction is what yields the best result. You don't need to know everything like every other person. You just have to keep it pretty simple. You'll be good. You will be good.
I remember when I was early into trading, everyone would just say buy the dip. You know what I mean? And I had no clue what the heck I was doing. But every time it dipped down and I bought it, I would make money. Right. And I had no clue what I was even doing. I didn't even understand what the chart really was. I didn't understand what a candlestick was. I wasn't even using candlesticks. I think it was just using a line chart. And it was so crazy simple. And that's the logic that, you follow the trend, trend's your friend till the end, and just buy the dip. Right. And the only issue that, the intermediates have is they overcomplicate it. And then they try to be right. And, the beginners kind of do pretty well because they're just buying the dip, right? And then once it's not trending anymore, you stop trading it.
Sometimes, Hunter, ignorance is bliss sometimes.
It was the glory days of trading where you know nothing and you're making shitloads of money.
Yeah.
Do you got any more questions there, James?
No, that's all my side.
Okay, Fourth Man, pleasure having you. Let's just plug your social media. You Fourth Man on X or?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, Trade with Fourth Man. I do sometimes we host live streams. I think we had a live stream a couple of days ago where I said the title is How to Trade JP225 Effectively. And on my YouTube, I run live streams on YouTube, and I'm also on X as the Fourth Man. All right, primarily the Fourth Man. All right, and we have a very strong community. Like I said, the community has been built on social trust across the world. All right, so primarily that.
Guys, the winner of the 50K Maven account is posted in the Discord. And go over and follow Trading with Fourth Man on YouTube right now after this video ends, because it's ending right now. Thanks for joining us, Fourth Man.
Thank you.
James, see you. See you guys.
James, thank you. Thank you.